So to get started, this is a 32mm socket, and I haven't even taken the tire off, but to hold this whole deal still while I get this nut off, because those nuts are always on there really hard. I got a cheater pipe on here too. It's a lot easier doing it that way. So I got the wheel off now, and when I jacked the car up, I used a cement block with a couple 2x4s, a jack, and a jack stand just to be safe. Make sure nothing falls down on us today. I've got my Chilton and my Haynes manuals because I'm not a real mechanic, but I think I should be able to do this job without using the books. I'm going to remove the brakes here because I have to change out brake shoes anyway. I got this deal here for the brakes to set on while I work on the car. You don't want to let the hose be what's holding the brakes up while you're working on the car. I'm also going to go ahead and remove this, get it out of the road. Now we've got these two bolts here. They connect it to the strut. I'm just going to take those out, and hopefully we should be able to get our CV axle out now. There. Now it's out. There's just those splines in there. It goes right in that hole, and you usually just kind of tap them out. So this is where the CV axle goes into the transmission. It doesn't actually go into the transmission. There's a pin there. You can see I've got it partly tapped in already. That pin needs to come out, and then the CV axle just slides off. So I'm going to tap that off now. I didn't have a punch that would work, so I just took one of my old cheap Allen wrenches that was not part of a set anyway. I just busted the end off that, and then that worked pretty good to knock that pin out. Now that that pin has been removed, this CV axle should just pull out, which it does. Came out real easy. Here you can see my inner boot was split really bad. Outer boot still looks okay. There's where that pin got knocked out of, and there's a shaft that comes out of the transmission that slides into there rather than this going into the transmission, which is nice. Here's a shot of what the shaft coming out of the transmission looks like. When we put our new axle on, we're gonna have to make sure we line up that hole for the pin right here. So I'm putting the new shaft on. I got those two holes lined up so I can stick in this pin. There. This one's a little bit harder because they got all the exhaust in the way. Inside this hub assembly, it's dirty and the grease is all kind of dried out. I always like to clean that out and put some fresh high temperature wheel bearing grease in there just to keep it lubed up. That looks a little bit better. I got it all cleaned up now and got some new grease on there. So this is a little rubber seal that keeps dirt out of your wheel bearings. So I made sure I lubed that up because that half shaft is going to spin in there. I even put a little bit of lube on the half shaft itself. Now we'll put the half shaft back in the hub assembly. There it is. It's nut on. Strut back together, and we'll be about done. So we got new brakes, new inner tie rod end, and a new CV axle. I didn't show this when I took it off, but after you get this nut on, there's a deal here. You gotta bend it down so the nut doesn't come loose. There, done.